So imagine this, you're a NASCAR driver who just spent 3 to 4 hours of blood, sweat, and tears trying to win a race. You did it. Maybe it's your first career win, maybe the biggest moment of your life. You are celebrating with your team, burning it down in victory lane, and then maybe an hour and a half later, it's announced that you failed post-race inspection and your win has been stripped away. And the fans that just saw you win in person, they didn't see the real winner burn it down, which is exactly what I saw last season in Rockingham when I was there in person when Jesse Love won the race. With NASCAR returning to Rockingham yet again this weekend for their 2026 race, I'll also be there, and I think this is a good time to make this video on nearly the 1-year anniversary of this happening. Of course, Jesse Love crossed the start-finish line first in his number 2 RCR car. Then he, of course, was disqualified post-race, but we'll be talking about that a little bit later in this video. Of course, this is going to be speaking on all the other times that NASCAR drivers have been disqualified after winning a race. There are a good amount of examples, and let's get straight into it. Newer fans may not know this, but drivers haven't always been completely disqualified from the race after winning and then failing post-race inspection. It used to be they would either get a points penalty, their playoff eligibility from the win taken away, or something like that, but they would still keep the race victory. That, of course, changed after 2018. Ultimately, the first year of this being implemented was 2019. Some stuff happened with Kevin Harvick. The last win that technically the driver failed inspection but wasn't taken away was Joey Logano's win in Richmond in 2017, and this was huge for his season. Of course, his only win of the year. This would have locked himself into the playoffs, but outside of this win, he had an abysmal season, and he ended up missing the playoffs because of this. So his playoff eligibility was taken away, even though he won the race, but still, of course, failed post-race inspection. After this, drivers would be disqualified from failing post-race inspection. We're going to be taking a look at more examples of that today. The first example of this ever happening in NASCAR where the winner was disqualified was Ross Chastain in the 2019 truck race at Iowa Speedway. Of course, this is back when he was racing for Nice Motorsports full-time. He dominated this race, winning both of the stages and winning by about 2.5 seconds over second-place Brett Moffitt. Once his celebration was complete, of course, the truck was taken for routine post-race inspection, and it was found that there were ride height issues with the truck, and Ross Chastain was disqualified, becoming the first ever NASCAR driver, at least in the modern era, to be disqualified after winning a race. With his disqualification, of course, the win was granted to Brett Moffitt, of course, who finished second for GMS Racing, who was his first win of the year. At the time, was your defending Truck Series champion as well. It was definitely pretty unprecedented to see the actual winner of the race. Of course, think he finished second, and then an hour and a half later, it was announced that he actually won the race, and the not real winner of the race, the actual last place finisher in the race, technically, officially, actually be celebrating the win. Chastain also had the trip bonus taken away from him, which was just the extra bonus money they used to have in the Truck Series. It was definitely a very unfortunate way for Ross Chastain's win to be taken away like that, but Chastain, of course, still had a great year, won a couple of races outside of that as well. Nice Motorsports would actually eventually find some humor in this, and just last year in 2025, Bailey Currie ran this throwback paint scheme to his unofficial win for that season in Iowa at Darlington in 2025, which is definitely pretty funny and cool to see. Our next driver up is now, of course, another current Cup Series driver. He was technically bushwhacking at this time, Denny Hamlin, in the 2019 Xfinity race at Darlington. Of course, so good in the Xfinity Series car at Darlington Raceway and the Cup car as well. They used to only do Darlington in the Xfinity Series for a few years. Don't know why he doesn't do that anymore, but back in 2019, he ultimately ended up winning the race, and he got the win. Denny had to hold off, now, of course, another current Cup Series driver in 2025, but that time Xfinity Series regular for Haas, Cole Custer, in the 00 car. He was ultimately able to do that, and he got yet another victory at Darlington Raceway down in the Xfinity Series. But post-race inspection for Denny wasn't too kind after he finished up his celebrations that night. NASCAR would announce their second disqualification in just the first year of them having the new rules where drivers could be disqualified after winning the race. And of course, yet again, it was for ride height issues, just like Ross Chastain in Iowa in the Truck Series, but this time plagued Denny Hamlin in his Darlington Xfinity win, and he was disqualified from the race and stripped of the win. Of course, that meant second place finisher Cole Custer was awarded the victory, which definitely made for a bit of an awkward post-race celebration, where he, of course, was out of his driver's suit in the media center with his trophy taking pictures. This was another driver who led 0 laps on the day as well, just like Brett Moffitt, who won the truck race after Chastain was disqualified in Iowa that year. This only added to Cole Custer's amazing 2019 season. This was, of course, his 6th win of the year in that throwback paint scheme that he had that day. Now, back in 2020, Kyle Busch was already the all-time wins leader in the Xfinity Series with nearly 100 victories, and it looks like that season's race at Texas Motor Speedway would be win number 98 of his career until post-race inspection came around for the driver of the Twix 54. Of course, this was during NASCAR's COVID era, I guess you can say, back in 2020, and Kyle Busch got the win at Texas Motor Speedway when he was having a disappointing Cup Series year, but still this win was sweet for him. But then it was announced that he failed post-race tech for ride height issues, again, just like his teammate Denny Hamlin in the season prior in the Xfinity Series, and like Ross Chastain. So 3 straight ride height issues, disqualifications, all not in the Cup Series as well, which is definitely a pretty strange coincidence. Austin Cindric, who came home second, was awarded the victory. Of course, Cindric was in his amazing 2020 season where he ended up winning the championship that year at the end of that, and this ultimately, of course, helped him on the road to that title. But I think this post-race celebration after the win was taken away from Kyle Busch and then ultimately it was announced that Cindric won the race was definitely the most awkward in NASCAR history. I mean, just look at it. I don't think I really need to explain anything else. You can just see what's going on right here and just doesn't look normal. No one even looks like they want to be there at that point. Luckily for Kyle Busch, this win didn't really mean anything technically because he obviously wasn't racing for points in the Xfinity Series. He was already full-time in the Cup Series, and he won a Cup race at Texas Motor Speedway later that season anyways. You know damn well what this is. Well, this one easily is the most famous example on this list and the most painful for me, when both Denny Hamlin and Kyle Busch were disqualified after finishing 1-2 in the 2022 Cup Series race at Pocono. I mean, when the checkered flag flew originally, I was very happy with how this race went. JGR finished 1-2, Denny Hamlin won. You had all the JGR cars inside of the top 9. It was a great day overall until I got that awful notification that, you know, something happened, and we made a little bit of a video, a little bit of a rant, but luckily that was on my old channel. You can't watch that anymore. Denny unofficially got another win at Pocono Raceway, which would have been his 3rd of the season, but down in post-race inspection, they were not too happy, and they ultimately ended up disqualifying the number 11 car, but it wasn't too bad. I mean, you still had Kyle Busch who finished 2nd, right? No, NASCAR decided to put their foot down on 2nd place as well, and they disqualified Kyle Busch, and the JGR 1-2 was no more. And still to this day, I can't understand why they failed tech. It was for something they did on the front end, apparently, which I don't understand how you could really change the next gen to do something like that. I mean, just saying, maybe it's because of the guy who was running 3rd who magically passed post-race inspection after all of this happened, but who knows, that's a topic for another day. But yeah, this ultimately went down as one of the most painful days as a NASCAR fan for me after seeing my team finish 1-2 and then ultimately being disqualified and finishing last and 2nd to last instead. That's just self-explanatory right there. Kyle Busch and Denny Hamlin have already been mentioned on this list multiple times, which doesn't really make any sense other than the team we're driving for. But we're not going to really talk about that. But thank God this is the last time on this list for now, at least. This is still a reason I'm always paranoid about post-race inspection when my drivers win, that JGR will be on this. Hey, but at least Denny Hamlin got away with stealing the trophy, and then he also got the win at Pocono the season after to get some redemption. Now, our last 2 examples are both from 2025, which, of course, if you're watching this in 2026, was last year, and they're both from the lower series. Of course, there's only been ever one winner disqualified from the Cup Series, and that meant both 1 and 2 finishers as well. This one, though, is a fan favorite. Parker Kligerman's 2025 win at the Daytona National Speedway in the Truck Series. Driving for the small team Henderson Motorsports, Kligerman scored what he thought was his biggest career victory. Unfortunately for him, that was all taken away after, of course, he failed post-race inspection. And what do you know, of course, it was another example of a truck not meeting post-race height requirements, and Kligerman's first win at Daytona International Speedway was stripped away from him. Corey Heim, that season's eventual champion there in the Truck Series, in one of the most dominant Truck Series seasons we have ever seen in 2025. Just incredible stuff by Corey Heim. Got his first win of the year in Daytona after Kligerman, of course, was disqualified in the very first race of the season. Obviously, like I said, fan favorite win for Kligerman before this happened, and this was not a very popular move by NASCAR. In the end, Kligerman actually got the best redemption possible by winning the summer race in Daytona later that season, albeit it was in Connor Zilich's car when Connor started the race, so technically this was a second win that didn't count for Parker Kligerman at Daytona for himself, but fortunately for him, this car did not fail post-race inspection. Now our last example of the video is, of course, one I said I saw in person last year, which of course was the Rockingham Xfinity race for 2025, where Jesse Love ultimately crossed the start-finish line first in his number 2 RCR machine. This was Jesse's second win of the year, ultimately, which would be a championship season, albeit probably shouldn't have been Connor Zilich as your real 2025 series champion in Xfinity, but this win, unfortunately for Jesse, was of course taken away. This was what Jesse thought was his second win of the season at Rockingham. His other one was at Daytona earlier in the year, the season opener. After burning the car down, celebrating down in victory lane, he got the really unfortunate news after post-race tech. Obviously, he was disqualified from the race and ultimately was credited with a last-place finish. Now, I believe the issue had something to do with ride heights yet again. Of course, there was only one Cup Series example in this video, and that was the only one not to do with anything to do with ride height issues. Of course, in the Truck Series and the Xfinity Series, for some reason, ride height issues in the post-race tech is a big thing that gets drivers disqualified for winning. Sammy Smith, of course, to finish second, was credited with the victory. He passed post-race tech. He already won $100,000 from winning the Dash for Cash for the Xfinity Series earlier that day. So a win to just go along with that was a perfect bonus for an amazing day for the driver of the 8, Sammy Smith. It ultimately ended up being Sammy's first win of the year, but being at person and seeing one driver win, then coming home and getting an announcement on Twitter that driver actually did not win and another driver was credited with the victory was definitely pretty awkward, and I hope I really never have to experience that ever again, because obviously, who wants to see that in person? And there you have it, your NASCAR drivers who have been disqualified after winning races. Of course, not all of these examples are from the teams cheating. Sometimes you just make a mistake. That's probably what most of these examples are, and teams just maybe pushing the limits a little bit too much, not intentionally, and just going over the line, unfortunately getting disqualified from these races. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Hopefully we don't have any more disqualifications anytime soon. You don't want to see that, obviously. And hopefully the winner of the race originally stays winner of the race for the rest of NASCAR history for every race that happens. So that will do it, and I will see you guys next time.